Now, everything in manifestation is created twice. It's created first in the mental plane, the thought, right? It's created as a thought. So that's the first place of creation. And then it gets created on the physical plane, which is the plane that we live in, right? Right here, right now. But you have to have the thought to do it first before you can actually physically bring it to reality. And so my manifestation thoughts began a year before that. So really, it was a year in the making of thinking about what I wanted to do and how I was going to manifest and what was important to me. And then, 8 months, 9 months of actually doing the manifestations and making it happen, because action is important. So with that little bit of background, what I am going to talk about today is, we're going to chunk up. We're going to go higher in things. Okay. I'm not going to just talk about manifestation. When I was doing my meditation yesterday, I was having a really great meditation, and I was really talking to my guides and angels. And I was asking them, what should we start making this about? Because I feel like I've been hitting the same thing over and over again. And I want to introduce or bring something new to you guys and bring something with value. So it was really fascinating, because what my team told me to talk to you guys about today is really kind of, it's intellectual, right? It's really kind of in our head, and it's really one of those things. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to give it a try, and we're going to see how this goes. And what I'm going to talk to you about today, the Love and Learn topic, because remember, we do Love and Learned, and then I pull cards for you guys. The Love and Learn topic today is on, and I had to write them down because I don't want to mess anything up, right? So it's really on the 7 natural. So it's based in metaphysics, okay? And it is the 7 laws, the 7 universal laws that govern our world, right? Our reality, our creation, our everything here. And so how this came about is that I started studying metaphysics 24 years ago now, okay? I had an existential crisis, I guess, maybe when I was in college. I was taking a lot of psychology classes and philosophy classes and other things. And I really started to question when I was 22. I started to question whether there was a God, right? That was kind of, I didn't really grow up in a very religious family at all. We were Presbyterian. So I wasn't steeped in any kind of form of religion. But I ended up going to church twice a week with my mother, but I didn't go to church. She was the nursery school. She did that for money. So I actually went to church, but I helped take care of kids is what I did. But when I was in my 20s, I started to really wonder, is there a God? Is this real? Am I an atheist? Am I a believer? All that kind of stuff. And those questions that were really interesting in my 20s with what I was doing really kind of led me in my late 20s to find metaphysics. Now, I want to read you what metaphysics actually are, because I have talked about metaphysics. I throw that terminology around, and I realize that some of you may not even know what metaphysics is. Okay, so I wrote it down. I looked it up again to make sure I had it right, but what I'm doing. So metaphysics, it's a type of philosophy that studies the broad concepts of reality and our understanding of it. So metaphysics is a form of philosophy. It comes down, it's really kind of Aristotle, really basics in that. So it goes way back in philosophy. And it's really concerned about the overall broad nature of our reality in our life. And so metaphysics asks those really deep questions, who are we? Why are we here? What is our purpose? All of those kind of questions. And metaphysics seeks to make understanding of that. So I started this path, and I just kind of started learning. And then in 2006, I found a book that was kind of amazing. I still have it. It is this little book, and I found it, and it's called Divine Magic. It is from Doreen Virtue wrote it. She even signed it, which is crazy because as you can see, she signed my little book because she was actually in Phoenix and at this bookstore in 2006 with this book that came out, and she signed it, and I bought this book. And this book is kind of what began my path and really started to change my life, this little bitty book. And this little bitty book is The 7 Sacred Secrets of Manifestation. So this is how long I've been doing this, right? And in this little book, it is really based on, it's based on the Hermetic manual, the Kabbalah. It's based in metaphysics. It goes back to all of this other stuff. And so really the nature, you know, like I said, the nature of our existence. I think it's really interesting. I wanted to tell you that when I looked up another alternative word for metaphysics, because I was like, what is that doing? It came up with 20 different synonyms for metaphysics. And the top synonym that it came up with was mysticism. So I thought that was pretty cool. So it's like, so really I've been studying mysticism. I've been interested in it for a really, really, really long time. It also came up with philosophy, religion, Aristotelism, and I love this one, phenomenology. So phenomenology, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay. So that's metaphysics. Now, what I want to do is I want to tell you, and I got my little notes down, Kelly, my my sticky notes. These have become my life force, Kelly, my little sticky notes that I have. So with metaphysics, there's 7 laws that govern us. Now, here's also what I want to tell you about metaphysics or religion or any of this kind of stuff. It is a theory. And I really, whenever I talk to you guys about anything, whenever I share anything on my Love and Learns, just understand that it's a theory and it's my belief system. It's what I've studied, what I've come to really works for me and works in my life. But anytime that we're dealing with mysticism or religion or spirituality or something beyond science, science hasn't really caught up to that yet, right? This goes back to ancient cultures that we as human beings, from the very day of our existence as human beings, we have always looked to see if there was something bigger and greater than us and something beyond us, right? So native cultures have shamans, and every culture has some kind of belief system. It is the one thread that runs through humanity from ancient times to today, is that we have always been seekers for something beyond our here and now and our physical plane. So religion is one form of theories that that has come to help out humanity. Metaphysics helps out humanity, all kinds of things. So these are theories. So I just want to tell you that. So although I say it as if it's truth, because it is my truth, absolutely 100%, and I love sharing it, remember it's a theory, okay? Okay. So I know this is like so heady, but I promise I will get to why this is important. I really, really, really will, okay? I'll try really hard to stay focused. So the 7 universal laws that govern our physical existence, according to metaphysics, right, are the law of attraction, which I talk about all the time, right? So there's more than just the law of attraction. That's just the most popular one in today's spiritual kind of community, or higher consciousness community, as I've heard it called. So there is the law of attraction. There's the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, the law of relativity, the law of cause and effect, the law of gender, and the perpetual transmission of energy. Now, in Divine Magic, she uses these in a little bit different words, but they kind of all mean the same thing. So I'm just going to go through them one at a time, okay? So law of attraction, it's easy, right? Hi, Colleen, and hi, everybody. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Sherry. Hi, everybody else. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Ashley. I'm going to take this moment to say hello to everybody. I'm so happy you guys are here, because I just kind of got into it, because like I said, it's a very brainy topic today, right? So, okay. So on these 7 universal laws, the law of attraction, right? That means like attracts like, okay? So your vibe attracts your tribe. I've talked a lot about that one. Everything is energy. So what we are putting out there, we are also bringing back. Now, here's the other thing I want to tell you about these 7 laws, okay? The 7 laws they are just laws. They are what they are. There's no judgment to there. There's no good, there's no bad. It just is what it is, right? It's like physics, it's like energy. It is what it is. It's science. There isn't any other kind of emotions or other stuff like that. So law of attraction. So your vibe attracts your tribe. What you put out is what you receive. Okay. That's number one. So the law of polarity that we need to know about, polarity is there's always, if there's light, there's dark. Okay. We have polarity. We are duality. It's also called the law of duality. So you can't have light without dark. You can't have pleasure without pain, right? You can't have love without hate. Like in our world, this world is really governed by the extremes. We always have the extremes, and you will see that again and again and again. If you start looking in the world, you will see the extremes, right? You will see that there's always this end, there's always that end, and then there's this bell curve in the middle. That is the law of polarity at work in every single bit of humanity. The law of rhythm, which means that everything has a season, everything has a cycle. Nature is based on the law of rhythm. You know, there's a time for planting, there's a time for harvesting, there's a time for laying fallow. And that is the law of rhythm. And the law of rhythm is a really interesting universal law to bring into your life on a daily basis, because it helps us understand that we are not the same person every single day. Okay. We have periods where we can work really, really hard. We have periods where we need the rest. You know, our bodies and us, we have cycles and we have seasons just like nature does. It's just that in 21st century life, we have all kinds of tools to make it so that we don't have to have a natural rhythm of life. But even with all of our tools, we still have a natural rhythm of life. It is a universal law. Now, law of cause and effect, that means that every decision we make, every action we do has an effect. It has an effect on us. It has an effect on other people. So the law of cause and effect. And it's a really important law for light workers, okay? Because it's an important law for me every time I do a Magic Monday, you guys, because one of the things I have to make sure is that I am working in my ethics, I'm working in my values, and I'm working in my integrity, because I'm sharing information with you that is important to me and that I think is important to the world, but I need to make sure I'm doing it in complete integrity the entire time, because my words have an effect. Your words have an effect. You know that when you're doing your business, it has an effect. You know that your actions has an effect, and you know that your decisions have an effect. And I think our world right now, some of the major problems we have in our world, seriously, is that human beings are forgetting how much of an effect our thoughts, our actions, our words, our decisions have on other people, the environment, the animals, and the life force. And I think a lot of humanity today is becoming very selfish and forgetting the cause and effect law. Okay, so that's just my own opinion. I'm just putting it out there, but that's kind of it. After the law of cause and effect is the law of gender and gestation. So it's gender and gestation. So gender does not mean your actual sex. So it doesn't mean female, male, whatever, but it is your actual, it's gender. So it means the law of gender means that in this world, we are governed by male and female. And I talk about that law a lot, you guys, because I talk about the divine masculine and I talk about the divine feminine. And it governs a lot of our life and how we live. And it governs our happiness and just a lot of things there. So, and again, gender isn't necessarily our sex, it's our divine masculine, our divine feminine. So masculine energy is forward moving energy, it's getting stuff done, it's action. Female energy, divine energy, is more receptive energy, it's creative energy, it's flowing energy, and it's allowing energy. And both of those things are complementary to each other. You know, male and female energy is complementary to each other. And we have, every single one of us, we have the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us. And then we also seek out partnership that complements our natural energy of what we have. So that's just a universal law. Okay. And then we also have the last one. So I get to number 7, and then I'm going to get to why this is important. Okay. So number 7 is the perpetual transmission, the perpetual transmission of energy. So I love this law because basically it says everything is energy. Our bodies are energy. We know that our bodies have we have a bioelectrical current inside of us. That's why Reiki works. I'm doing a presentation. I've got it all together this weekend for what I'm doing, because I'm going to be doing a talk about Reiki and body healing and energy. So our bodies have bioelectric fields to them. And we know this because when we go to the doctor, they'll hook us up to an EKG machine. They can hook our brains up. The medical community, the scientific community can put instruments on our body and they can measure our energy. So, when people say that, this thought that we are made of energy is woo-woo, I'm just like, I don't buy it. Like that's not woo-woo, it's truth, right? So the law of the perpetual transmission of energy means that energy can't be created or stopped. It is, it's like it just is. So energy is always moving, it's always flowing, it's always going, it's always changing. So that's just a law to understand that change is constant, change is inevitable. And what's important about that is that our resistance, a lot of times change, this universal law of change, is what is really, really frightening to human beings. That's what causes fear, what causes anxiety. So even though we love the idea of change as human beings, right? Even though we love the idea, we don't always like the execution of change, because the execution of change can feel unsettling. COVID felt very, very, very scary and very unsettling because it was a massive global change that none of us had experienced before, and it changed everything. And it was really fear-inducing, anxiety-causing. A lot of things really have happened to us as a global collective. We've all experienced global trauma because we have experienced fear and we have experienced change in a way that we felt out of control. But if we can understand the law of perpetual motion, the law of perpetual energy and changing, we can breathe a little bit more of a sigh of relief and just understand that this is what it is. Life is always moving. It is always changing. It is always moving forward. And we can either lean into life, or we can stick up a roadblock. We can stick up a stop sign and we can resist it. And we can be like, not today, not me, not today, no way, no how. But our putting up a roadblock, all we're doing is we're just throwing speed bumps in the middle of the law of motion, because the energy's happening, the energy's changing no matter what. That's the way it is. The clock turns, the wheel turns, we get older every single day. Nothing ever remains the same, ever. And so if we can understand this as a metaphysical law, we can actually take that and we can bring that into our awareness. So then when change hits us, and we want to put up that resistance of no, not today, not now, that fear that comes up, if we can take a big, deep breath, we can just realize it's just change. And then we can possibly look at it and decide whether that change is good for us or not good for us, instead of just instantly putting up the no and the roadblock. Okay. So the law of perpetual motion is actually a really cool universal law. Okay. I'm going to take a big deep breath because I just gave a ton of information there, right? And I swear my guides and angels told me that you guys were ready to hear this today and you wanted to hear this. So I'm just leaning into it. I'm trusting that it's what I was supposed to do today and that what I heard was correct. Okay. Okay. So here's what and why. Hang on, let me take a drink real quick. Look, I don't have my Ray Dunn Don't Kill My Vibe cup today. I love this cup, right? Don't kill my vibe. Anyway, okay. So when I was talking to my guides and angels, because I do that, because I ask about you guys and I ask, what am I supposed to share? What would be helpful? What do they want to know? What would be interesting? you guys hang out with me every single Monday. So I don't want to, I don't want to keep talking about the same thing. I don't want it to be boring. I want to keep bringing up something else. So when I asked him and I was like, that's great, you guys, that you have me talking about the 7 universal laws. But, I read this forever ago, again, 2006, and I've kept the book and gone back and read it. And Susan, the name of the book is called Divine Magic. It's the 7 Secrets of Manifestation. It's by Doreen Virtue, but it is out of print. So long out of print to be able to find this. And actually, Doreen Virtue has gone through and she is denounced. She was massively huge at Hay House, and she was prolific. She wrote a lot of books and did a lot of cards, and she has denounced spirituality and metaphysics completely, and has gone completely to Christianity. So it's kind of interesting. That's neither here nor there. It's just a little bit of background. But if you're looking for this book, this Divine Magic book by Doreen Virtue, just know it's really hard to find. Okay, it just is. So. But let me go back because I got off track a little bit. So when I was asking my guides and angels, why is this important for me to spew all this information? That's good. There's many available used online. Yay, Carolyn, thanks for looking that up. I'm so happy to hear that. So thanks. I really appreciate you saying that. Okay, so you guys, good. Talk amongst yourselves because hopefully you can find the book. That would be fantastic. Okay, it's short. It's an easy read, but it's a very brainy read. So when I ask my guides and angels, okay, after I just give all this information and I tell them about all of these universal laws and we talk about metaphysics, why is that important? Why is it important today? And how is that important to their lives? I mean, it doesn't, it's just metaphysics. It's just information. And what my guides really told me about that is the reason why it was important for me to share this today and give you all of this background and this love and learn is because every time as human beings, because we are human beings, or we're spiritual beings and human beings, right? Or we're human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. You hear that all the time. We are basically, bodies, okay? We have our physical body. This is the one we know best. It's the one we can touch. I can see your physical bodies. I can give you a hug. I can reach out. I can touch you. That's a physical body. That's our 3-dimensional world that we see right now. But we also have a mental body, which is our brain, our thinking body. We have an emotional body, which is our feelings. And we have a spiritual body, which is our higher self. It's our inner self, our higher self. It's how we connect to whatever that thing that we feel a pull towards that is greater and bigger than us. And whatever label, name, belief you want to give that thing, again, God, universe, spirit, Allah, it doesn't matter to me. And you've heard me say this every single Magic Monday. It doesn't matter to me what your belief system is. But if you and I are going to be able to have a conversation about these topics, about metaphysics, about spirituality, we're going to have one major thing in common. And that is that we believe there is something greater and bigger than us. And in my life, I know it. I feel it. I live it on a daily basis. And I know that my guides and angels are with me, and I never feel alone. And that's really what I'm here on Magic Mondays to do, is to just share the light worker that you never feel alone. Even in your darkest moments, even in the moments when you feel most alone, you're not alone, right? So that's why these 7 laws are important, because if you can learn basic laws, if you can learn metaphysics, if you can learn these terms, if you can learn the stuff that is not talked about on TV, that is not read in the newspaper, that is not talked about in normal conversation, and you can actually do this, then this expands our mind. And when we expand our minds, we grow. We allow, awareness, we allow ascension, all those other words that come with the higher consciousness community. We allow ourselves to have the possibility and possibly the knowing and the knowledge, right? You get the possibility and then you get the knowledge, which is what I did, right? I had the possibility that there was something greater than this. And then I needed the knowledge. So I started the field and the study of it. And now I have the knowing. And for me, I live my life every single day with the knowing that there is the seen world, the 3D world, and then there is an unseen world. And to me, both of these worlds are just as legit and just as real. And exactly what you said, Carolyn, right? What I was saying, it's not woo-woo, but true. It's not woo, but true. It is true. And so the more that I can embrace the unseen world, the more I can harness these 7 universal laws, and the more I can bring them into my being. So every single day, I create magic. And I use that word magic to mean I create a world where possibility is how I live. Anything and everything is possible in my realm. If I can think it, if I can dream it, I can figure out how to do it. It's just, how do I get there in the middle of it? And if I can understand that the universe has laws, right? And I can work within those laws, then I can create magic for myself, and I can help you guys create magic for you. Okay? Whew, that was a big one. Thank you for the hearts and the love. Thank you for staying with me today, because I know this was not a normal Magic Mondays. I really appreciate you, and I love you all so very much for allowing me to show up and present myself to you this way. I feel every single Monday when I come on my Magic Mondays and when I'm with you, I feel like I am actually living my purpose and I'm living my true self. And I am allowed, see, it's making me cry, you guys, because the energy is rising, because I can feel it. It allows me to feel seen. And I love you, and thank you for allowing me to feel seen. Okay. Okay. Now, what I want to know is if you have any questions. And Hitomi, obviously, you know that it's like getting ready to go ahead and pull cards. So while Hitomi is going to be getting that ready for cards, and I'm going to get into my comfy position here. While Hitomi is ready for cards to pull and do that, I'm just wondering if anybody has any questions on that. If you think about it, if you're kind of going through it, and you're thinking about any of this and it comes up and you're like, wait, what was that again? Just pop me an email. So soulstarmagic@gmail.com. I love to hear from you guys. I will respond. I promise I will always respond. So pop me a note if you have any questions. Okay.